What are design constraints? See, software, hardware, or any other work you do in your life, there is always in business, there will be certain design constraints. It may be imposed by you, it may be imposed by the customer, it may be imposed by the environment. So there are certain boundary, there are certain limitation which you cannot cross. So design constraints are nothing but the limitation on a design. That is the boundary you cannot cross. You have to work within this boundary. So this includes the imposed limitation that you don't have any idea or you can't control, and the limitation that are self-imposed as a way to improve a design. You can also self implicate that thing. Okay, we want to improve our design. We need this limitation. Or as I said, user might have given you environment is there. Uh, See, for example, the user has said 1 GB I want in 1 second. This is the design constraint only, because if you give him 1 GB in say 50 seconds or 1 minute, he will not be appreciating your software or a system. So this kind of imposition is the design constraint. So what can be the example of constraints, design constraint? First of all, programming language to be used. For example, you are making a software with certain library or software certain code already there. Now that code is already made in say Java. So you can only use Java here. Otherwise, there will be very difficult to use C sharp with Java. So this is a programming language constraint. And then we have the operating system. For example, it has to work on a say tablet with some Windows 10 or some Windows 8 or 7. So somebody says no, we need security, so we need Linux. So this is the operating system restriction. Then the performance expectation, as I just told you about the file transfer of 1 GB. That is, performance is an issue, reliability is an issue. So people want that it should be available every time. Then the user interface needs. Say sometime, there you might be making some system for those who are say specially challenged. So how are they going to interact with your system? That is your user interface need. Or some company comes that, okay, I want this color, blue and white. So this is a user interface need. This is restricted. So they said that, oh, I only want blue and white. So now you don't have, you might be liking say green color more or say red color more, but you cannot go with this. You have to go with blue and white. So these are the limitation on a design. Along with this, see, design constraints are not only on software or a hardware. It will be for every business. So I'll give an idea of what are the common types of design constraints. First is the commercial constraints. Money. You are given a time that in 1 year you have to complete this. The budget say 50 million, or let us make it as 5 million. So you have to complete it in this time and budget. That is a constraint. You cannot overrun the budget. You cannot overrun the time. Then the requirements. There are certain functional requirement for say a website or a web app or your software. So the requirement have to be fulfilled. You cannot go away from that requirement. This is the design constraint. These are the only requirements that you have to fulfill. If you want to give more, that is up to you. But the basic requirements have to be fulfilled. Then the non-function requirement. That is the, you can say, performance issue, integrity issue, the security, the maintainability. All these are non-functional requirement, may not be given to you implicitly. It will not be, it is implicit because nobody is going to explicitly define it. So these non-functional requirements are also coming into the design constraints. Then the compliance. There may be some law, rules, regulations, standards. Somebody says, oh, I want the MISRA standard to be followed. Somebody says, oh, this standard has to be followed. Then you have to follow that standard. The government may have some regulation. The testing also aspect that, okay, you have to test like this, Six Sigma testing. Then compliance is there. Then the style. See, every product is guided by a certain constraint of colors. What will be the layout packaging in the software? What will be the user interface? So there is a particular style the user want or you have to make. Then the sensory design. This will not come into software, but I'm giving you an idea. There's certain brand only want that the fruit smell should be there. No other smell. So this is a sensory design. Now you are restricted with this sensory design. So you have to do like that. Then the usability, because the easiness to use is the key. That is, people should not get astonished. Oh my God, I am stuck. What should I do? It is so unusable. That is not user friendly. So usability of hardware, software, or any the product is very important. Then the principles. See, sometimes you have principle, but sometimes the organization may have some certain principle. The individual may have certain principle. You cannot change that principle. That is, if organization says we don't do these things, so that things cannot be done. So you have to make in terms of their you know conforming to their principles. This is also a design constraint. Then the integration. See, what integration means is that all these things, you know, when we combine them, it can be product, services, system, process, control, partners, information. So for all of them, when they are integrated, the design should work. So this is the design constraint also, because you might have made certain thing, but should it be integrate and that is also working?